And welcome back to our channel. You are watching Scholar Online Learning, the channel that is all about learning. In this video, we're going to discuss a very important topic that is sort of a big elephant in the room when it comes to e-commerce, creating websites, and doing your own digital stuff online. We all want to be online. It's the new trend, it's the industrial revolution. Everybody's going online. You are more likely to get discovered if you have some sort of representation online and you start selling your items online, because people are more free right now to make an order online and purchase something online than walking to a physical store and expose themselves to this virus that we have happening and running around our country. So in the midst of all of that, it's very easy to sort of forget and lose track of the fact that we are still living in a digital space where digital crime is on the rise. A digital crime can actually be quite easy to commit for a lot of people, especially if you do not take the time and the precautions that you need to put in place to make sure that you are secure online. So in this video, I just want to focus on digital security and how to protect yourself online, especially if you want to start an e-commerce store. You need to have all of these things ticked and covered because you are going to be a target. The first time you put up your store, you are going to be a target immediately. Why? Because you are dealing with money, because you are dealing with people's personal information. You are dealing with things that hackers want to get their hands on, okay? So this video is all about e-commerce security. And before we get started, let me just start by mentioning that you just need to be prepared for this somewhere in the back of your mind. Do not divorce yourself from the idea that you will get hacked at some point. This is something people don't talk about. This is something YouTubers never mention, but this is very, very important, especially if you're going to build something on WooCommerce or Shopify, which has got a very standard infrastructure and what we call a very standard architecture. So the criminals know exactly where to look. They know your file structure on WooCommerce. They know your file structure on Shopify. They know exactly where to go to find information that they're looking for. And if you have vulnerabilities, you are going to find yourself in some very hot water, losing people's personal information, getting hacked, getting into a lot of trouble, losing money. I mean, there's so much that can go wrong. So keep in mind, you will get hacked. And if you do get hacked, what are you going to do? So let's get that out of the way. What are all the things you need to have in place to deal with the worst case scenario if you do get hacked? Is your information secure? Do you have antivirus protection? Do you have insurance for your clients to reimburse yourself against possible having to reimburse people for losing their personal information? Do you have backups, daily backups of your website? All of that is very, very important because you must consider the worst case scenario and how to protect yourself against that. But in this video, I'm going to share with you all the things that you need to have in place to ensure that the worst case scenario does not happen, okay? And maybe in the end, we'll talk a little bit about what to do in the worst case scenario. So I recently had this article that I wrote on Medium about how companies get hacked in 2020. So this is a very good read, and I'm going to link it in the description below. And when you get a chance, just go and read it in detail. First of all, what exactly is hacking? What does it mean to be hacked? Who are these hackers and what are they doing? There is, I've got a very nice illustration in my article where I describe hacking as, imagine you've got a house, okay? So imagine you've got a beautiful house and you've got like nice, valuable things inside your house. You would lock your house and make sure that criminals don't go in. So if I was a criminal and I wanted to get into your house to steal things from your house, what are all the things I'm going to do to get into your house? So hacking is all the methods and systems that people do to get access to your private information that you store, whether it's in your house, in your computer, wherever. Get that information. What are the things people do to get access to that? That is a basic definition of hacking. So if you go back to that example of a house, a hacker one of the most common methods of hacking is what we call a brute force. And brute force attack just means that hacker has got all the time in the world. They're going to go into your house and they've got all the master keys of your type of lock for your door. And they're going to try each and every single key until they find the key that opens the door. That's what we call a brute force type attack, okay? This still results in like about 5% of all confirmed hacks, currently is brute force attacks. So people just running a program on your website and they're just trying all the passwords they know of to try and figure out which password is going to work. And there's many ways to protect yourself against this type of brute force attack. If you look at the kind of websites that we build, we have our domain, and with WordPress, everybody knows you just need to go to whatever your domain /WP admin, and that's the admin login. So a hacker could potentially just run a program on your WP admin that tries all the combinations of passwords until they find the password that works and log them into your domain. Okay, so there's many ways to protect yourself against this type of attack. And the most common one and most widely advised is just to keep changing your passwords on a regular basis. Doesn't matter how complicated your password is. Okay, if you're running an e-commerce store, and especially once you start making money, you cannot keep the same password for a period of longer than 3 months. Okay, every 3 months, 2 to 3 months minimum, you need to go in there and change your password and use a different password. The password that you need to use, do not use your birthday, obviously. Do not use your name. Do not use your daughter's name, your wife, common names. Obviously, you don't want to forget your password. So most people tend to use like common phrases like Jesus, peace, Do not use those type of passwords, okay? Use a very complex password. You can get password generators using a complex password, letters, uppercase, lowercase, spaces in between. Make the passwords at least 8 to 10 characters minimum, and then go upwards. Make it complicated that you have to even yourself write it down to remember it. Okay, so do not write your password down in a file, because people do that as well. I get a lot of people, they've got a file in their computer that is called passwords, and then they save all their passwords. They do not do that. Okay, write your passwords physically in a book, okay, in a piece of paper that you're going to store in a safe place. Do not store your passwords written down electronically on your computer, because if a hacker gets access to your computer, they can just sniff out the file and find it, and then all your passwords are just written down for them to be able to access. Okay, so one of the common ways people get hacked is using common passwords, not changing their passwords enough, or just using simplistic passwords because they don't want to forget it. Write your password down and do not leave it electronically. Okay, very, very important. This can save you from 99% of all types of brute force attacks. Okay, then the second way hackers are going to try to get to you is to steal the password. Okay, so when they can't brute force you, they're going to find a way to steal it. Okay, and there's many methods, and I cannot possibly cover them all. I'm going to just talk to you about the most common ones that you need to guard against, especially if you're within the e-commerce website space, to try and guard against. Okay, one of the common ones in the way that they will steal your passwords is using what we call they can do phishing, smishing. They can do malware, Trojan viruses. I'm going to try and cover this all in one, because this is all a form of stealing. Okay, the most common one is that they'll send you an email. It will look legitimate. It will look like an email that comes from your bank, or even job search websites. I want to cover this in this tutorial. A lot of entrepreneurs will go and bid for tenders. Okay, and they will bid for projects, and they will look for jobs, and they will have their CV and their information in a lot of online spaces, looking for jobs, looking for tenders, looking for opportunities. Okay, so these fraudsters hunt in these areas, because you're going to put in your profile, your name. So they will come in and pretend to be a government institution or a company that they've got a tender that they are bidding out for entrepreneurs to bid on. Okay, and you will come in there with all the good intentions, and you'll be like, oh, let me bid on this tender, and you will supply them with your information. You will give them all your company documentation, because you think you're bidding for a tender, and they're not a legitimate company. They're just farming information. That is one of the ways that they get access to your information. And then they will even respond and like, yeah, we like your application for this job or for this tender. We really love what you've been doing, but please send us, please use this form and fill in your information in this format. And this is common because a lot of job search people will give you their own form because they don't, because they'll tell you that no, your CV is not in the right format, and they will give you their own form for you to complete. And that file will be sent to you with a Trojan or a malware or some sort of software. And you will click on it and be like, oh, I'm shortlisted for this tender. Okay, so I've got to supply my information in this format. And then you will click on the file. Because 99% of people do not click on attachments or links on emails because they already understand phishing. But fishermen have become very, very smart that they will house this in an opportunity. So they will bait you with like a job application or a tender application. And then you will be following along with the process. And somewhere down the line, then they will send you a document that says, oh, please click on this and enter your personal information in our format because we need your information in this format. But the problem is the file they send to you to enter the information. That file will have a Trojan, a virus, a malware on it, and you will click on it and you will not even notice the Trojan or malware installing itself in your computer in the background. You will just enter your information, boom, 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 send it back to them, and they've already installed everything they need on your computer. And you will hear back from them again, maybe 2-3 weeks. Oh yeah, congratulations, you've won this tender. Yeah, please do this. And they'll still try to defraud you in other means, getting you to do stuff, supply stuff, things to them, which obviously they won't pay you for because they are not legitimate. But the biggest risk in this type of fraud is the fact that they have already now installed a malware on your computer. And the second thing is now they have your personal information, your ID numbers, your details, your bank statements. I mean, you would have supplied all of this in an application for a tender, and they've got all of that. And a lot of people get hacked in this manner without even noticing it themselves, okay? So very, very important, beware of opportunities that parade themselves in this manner. I know a couple of people that have been hacked in this manner because they were looking for a job or they were applying for a tender and it was a fraudulent application. Another place where malware are, we all know this, okay? Porn websites, free watch series online websites, okay? When somebody gives you free software, pirated software for you to use and you think, oh, I don't want to pay the full Adobe Creative Cloud license, flipping 1,000 rands a month. I've got a free version, use this. 9 out of 10, it's got some malware in it, okay? Free MP3 download websites. This is something that even I used to fall for in the past. You don't want to pay for iTunes, so you're going to see this app in the App Store and you're going to go download it for free MP3s. And every time you download an MP3, you're downloading malware into your computer. Job search websites. So be very, very careful, especially as an entrepreneur. You cannot afford to take chances anymore because back then when you were just a student, if you got hacked downloading MP3s, maybe they would hack your email, your Gmail, right? Because I got hacked once and they hacked my Gmail. Right? I was a student, there was nothing much to lose. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're running an e-commerce store, if you get hacked, it's no longer just your Gmail that gets hacked. It's your online store. It's the information of all your clients that have provided you with information. According to our Data Protection Act in South Africa, and many countries have this act now running, you are responsible for all the personal private information you collect on your website. So every time a client comes to your website and enters their name, their email address, their address, all the information, you are responsible for it. You are responsible for it legally. People go into e-commerce and dropshipping because they think they're going to make a lot of money, but they do not understand the implications of the legal implications if things go wrong. You can be sued for a data breach on your website. You can be liable for millions depending on how big your website is. If you get breached because of negligence or whatever reason, okay? So you are now running a place where you're collecting people's information, you're collecting people's money, you're collecting people's credit card information, you're collecting a lot of information that is personal. And you need to be very, very careful about the kind of things you do on your computer, on your phone that could lead to perhaps getting yourself hacked and losing this information, right? So that is why this is a very, very important topic that we need to discuss very, very early on in your e-commerce journey, okay? So when you get a chance, have a look at this article that I've written on Medium, and just see some of the tips that I put up in there. And one of the things that people didn't notice or don't know, I guess surprised people don't know this, okay? Mobile apps are some of the most dangerous things you can install on your phone, because mobile apps are written by third-party developers, companies, okay? The App Store does some sort of checking on mobile apps, but there's a lot that people can do in the background that you're not aware, or the App Store will not catch. Okay, so there's a lot of hacking that actually happens through mobile apps. You download a mobile app because you want to check the weather, or you want to get some, I make an example with a restaurant recommendations app. You just want, I just want to know what are all the restaurants next to me. But that restaurant recommendation app needs to use your location to recommend your restaurants. And the first time you download it, they will say to you, oh no, you need to give us access to your location and this and that, because we need all of this for the app to work. And many people don't think twice clicking that permissions thing, and they'll ask for it once. And you will do it usually when you first download the app. And 3 months on the line, you'll forget even all the permissions you give in an app. And as an app developer, I know. I can even get their app to run in the background. You could be off the app and you've switched the app off, and you're on another app, or you're on the internet, and that app is still running in the background doing all sorts of things that you do, and you don't know that, because you don't see the code of the app. You don't know what that developer has written in that app. Okay, so I always tell people, unless if you really cannot access this platform online on a website, make sure you really trust the developers of an app before you download an app into your phone, because you give apps much more permissions that you think you're giving the app. And I've written code for apps, and I'm surprised at the kind of things I can do with an app. That actually, if people knew, they would think twice before downloading apps if they don't know the developers, right? And just top things, if you're an e-commerce person and you want to do websites, be very careful. It's very easy as entrepreneurs. We think, oh my gosh, let me just go to the Mag and Bean and work from there. It's free internet, free Wi-Fi. I'll just save a bit of money. Don't do that. Okay. Do not work at internet cafes and places that supply free Wi-Fi internet connectivity, especially if you are not in control of the network. Okay, as a developer, I know all I need is to be in the same network with you, and I can get into your computer and do all sorts of things. Okay, so a lot of these free Wi-Fi places, okay, are not as secure as you think. The businesses obviously have all the right intentions. The Mag and Bean has all the right intentions providing free Wi-Fi. They just want to get a lot of clientele, but then the hackers and the criminals latch onto this, and they sit in those internet cafes. They spend the whole day there, and they just sort of like browsing through. When you connect, they can connect to your network, your computer, through the service. Okay, so be very careful with that. Be very careful with your Bluetooth. People do this. You connect with a friend on Bluetooth, right? And you want to transfer some music between each other, and then you leave your Bluetooth on. You don't switch it back off. And everywhere you go, I could be a hacker and I could just be pinging you on Bluetooth. And some hackers just do this, phishing, like just checking everybody that's got their Bluetooth on. And they could like send you files, send you Trojans through your Bluetooth, and you don't even know, because you switched your Bluetooth off like 6 months ago. You never switch it back off. Always have your Bluetooth switched off on your laptop, on your computer. If you need to use it for file transfer with a friend, quickly do it, switch it back off. Do not leave your Bluetooth switched on in perpetuity. All right, password do's and don'ts. Obviously, read through this when you get time, but a lot of this is quite obvious, but you'll be surprised how many people don't do this, right? The only thing I want to highlight here, and read this when you get a chance, do not email your passwords. This is a common thing that developers fall into, and I've had some of my clients fall into this trap, is when they get a developer, the developer will be like, okay, so give me your cPanel password so that I can do stuff on your computer. And then the easiest way is obviously, oh, I'll just email it to you. Don't do that. Okay? If you have to email your password, okay, because let's say your developer is in another country, there's no other way to get it across, right? And I've had to do that in the past. Immediately change the password as soon as you've done it. Because Email hacking is one of the top ways that hackers actually get access to your passwords. If I get access to your email, if I hack your email once, right, I have access to all your emails. I can just go through all of them and try and find passwords that you've emailed to each other. And then, oops, there's a password to your cPanel. Boom. Go hack your cPanel, delete your whole website. I mean, I've had this happen to a client. Emailed passwords, they hacked their email, they got access to their cPanel password, went into their cPanel, deleted their entire website, and put their own website there. Like a hacker put their own website on your cPanel, on your domain, that does whatever it is they want to do on your domain. That, for example, just sends people like random stuff, and or like a Bitcoin, whatever. So be very careful, especially with your cPanel. If you have to email it, immediately change that password. Okay, so if you have time, I mean, go through this. I mean, there's a lot to share, but this is very, very important, especially if you're in e-commerce, to take care of the security. Okay, comment below, let me know if such and such has happened to you in the past. Let me know what else you want me to talk about. But be safe online and protect yourself, because when you're in e-commerce, it's not just your Gmail getting hacked, it's other people's account, and you have a much higher liability when you're running a business and you get hacked. Thank you very much.